Mr. Dan Marcus, the legendary Mr. Dan Marcus. And we have the luxury today to ask him this wonderful question. What's your story, Mr. Dan Marcus? Why don't you give the audience a brief history of your background and bring everyone up to speed to how your career thus far is very influential, and from this point on you have some valuable information to share with the upcoming generation of artists who are now looking for these type of leadership. With that note, introduce Mr. Dan Marcus.
Well, yeah. Good evening, everybody. My name is Dan Marcus. You know what I mean? I come from Port Liola, Belize, born and raised. You know what I mean? Product of the south side of Belize, and I say I've been doing music and been a part of the Belize local music scene since the early 90s. I say we pioneered a lot of the early movements and transition in the Belizean scene from, like I said, back in the earlier days, some of the earlier artists then where I used to look up to, that different format used to available in terms of how artistry used to work and how artists used to get out and work. Back then, more stage shows and live performances, and we just usher in a new level of having produced songs on CDs with the new digital age, so to speak. You know what I mean? So that way I really say that my stake my claim as, you know what I mean, I am one of the early pioneers in making a transition, especially being on reggae dancehall artists, you know what I mean?
Now that's good to hear. Now, speaking on that's more like the transformation of the musical industry at its whole. Let's talk a little bit about those steps that first underwent in Belize, and the ones that are currently here, and the ones that can be used to further one's entire career as an artist. Give us a little information about that.
Well, see, that the thing what I feel is lacking within our musical structure, and I don't know, because back then there was like, if coming from back then, the support me different, because I said we created had benefit at the media from a different level, because at this time and about the digital age, when this digital age step in, it reach a level where YouTube and Facebook and all of the other mediums, they have the power to magnify your voice as an artist, you know what I mean? And I just feel like we know, especially where the music they know, a lot of the platforms they never get created for we could flourish in this new era. You know what I mean? And like I said, enough of the digital platforms there, especially for we in America, Belizean American artists are like, I just feel like we just need to figure out our way how to, and that just, as I said, just like the stuff like this platform, yeah, this a blessing, because just to be able to could have this the wider world, so we could get out our story and just shine light on certain issues and needs where might need to be addressed, so that we could move forward and reach where we need to reach.
That's an excellent way of expressing that, by the way. With the current musical uproar currently in Belize at this particular point, where the music has really taken on to a different liking, there are a lot of mainstream companies and moguls who are coming in and really extracting some of Belize's cream of the crop. And along that, they are not carrying that song or that sound of Belize, of the artist that made them so popular. What advice would you give an artist when it comes to teamwork, and when you have a particular sound, how important to carry that sometimes with you with an open ear?
No, that one next thing I feel too, that like we as Belizeans, we're in the music space, we really do need to find a way to develop our sound. That one utmost important undertaking where we need to undertake. We need to really create and define our sound as a, because I feel like there is a space for it and we could create one space for it, but we just have to start developing the whatever one, and just certain traits we want identify our sound and our vibe, because like we have our culture we're rich, and we could draw from our culture and put, because and then mixed with the fact that we been influenced by dancehall music and seeing how great and big dancehall music impact around the world is, like, and I feel like we have a lot of Belizean artists who have the same level of talent, and it's just a matter we just never have the infrastructures in a place in terms of the like first thing first, like the journalism. Like we not got no journalists we totally focused on music and the music scene. We not got no, we never have no like say outlets like this, and like say that just the minor infrastructure things then when we need to be in place so that we could really create like one factory. And I say the possibility may there for that may be, but just along the line I don't know what happened, and it just dead at this point now where I say it's still in a good space, because I feel like right now with with how YouTube and the way how artists could reach out, a lot of artists got the advantage now of being able to could make their words and a lifestyle and the vision be seen to a broader audience still too, you know.
Excellent, man. I sympathize with you and I see how important that is. Um, Now, I know that we have a few individuals that has risen above the cream of the crop in Belize, and the character in this business of music, the character of the artist is such an important combination along with your music that it pays to really listen to advice. Now, what information can you share with us for those artists who, when you give them advice, they are stubborn to get the knowledge and absorb the knowledge to how to maximize their career? It's one thing to make music, it's another thing to make people listen to your music, but it's how do you maximize it? Do you feel that this new movement of maximizing your music in all these social media platforms will be beneficial for a lot of Belizean artists who are really not known?
Yeah, definitely, because I say I feel like that one breeding ground and one space now where never there possible where could be magnified, because now when you go viral anyway you get that not just one local um you get exposed to, so that bigger audience you get. And right now that a lot of artists get discovered through just leave viral stunts and stuff, you know what I mean that way game there right now, in terms that you have to keep your viral image and your viral content out there in a people face and ever present right now, because of how social media really is this day and age. They're all about content, and you just have to always present with content, whatever it is. And I say I feel like, but that the next problem too, because then again, because a lot of artists, as I said, not a lot of artists not really take advice no more. A lot of artists, as a young artist, it's good to come in with a vision where you want to do, but if you come in the music business or in the entertainment scene and you don't have an open mind to, you can't just really just think that at the end of the day because there will be stumbling blocks in the way, and you have to that like politics, you have to find your way around and know how to maneuver in the scene. And that basically music industry, that just one big politics scene, and a lot of artists when they doing certain things and come off certain way, then you burn your bridges in the future, and future opportunities and doors get closed upon you. So you really have to watch that as a young artist, you know what I mean? Even if a man, because you could take advice from a baby, you could take advice from an idiot, you could take advice from a crazy man. as long as whatever advice and whatever information beneficial to you and you could strain out and get the best and it will make sense out of it. So you just have to have that open mind as an artist, but at the same time, I said you have to still sleep with your own eye, because the next thing is to a lot of the artists then where do they get exposed to newer things in terms of deals, and so have to be careful, because now if you look on the scene even today, like artists like Meek Mill, where a big established artist still complain that they don't get paid concerning their contract and certain things like that. So like as artists too, that one of the thing you have to urge young artists to try learn and understand the business, because the business is much easier to learn today, because you know have as much loophole as it did back in that day. So you just have to go and do your research.
Man, that's a big factor in this business, you know. And you speak about in resolve to character. Now, I noticed that you're wearing a shirt that has this symbol of EYFR, and I'm noticing it reads "Every Youth for Rich."
Yeah, man.
Now, that's such a compelling way to look at a Belizean state of mind in the young form. Why don't you talk to me a little bit about that line that you're wearing? Tell me about that.
Yeah, man. Right now, shout out to Dyce, you know what I mean? And I said, like, these are the things where I want to see a lot more young artists do, a lot of young Belizean entrepreneurs do and try, because the entertainment scene not just have one facet and not just the music alone. There's so much other aspects to that where if utilize a certain thing get open up, it could create opportunities. So that, like I said, shout out to the Expander and Every Youth for Rich brand, you know what I mean? And I say Every Youth for Rich, that a real thing for real. I like that the man motto couldn't be more realer to our situation. And even if they're not physical riches, we have to know that all are we have to reach in and love, and once we reach in and love and reach in and overstanding, we help each other to reach and achieve whatever goals we decide to move towards, you know.
Absolutely, and believe me, I had to highlight that very much. You know, and speaking of that, Dice Candy, you know, production is so important to be able to maintain a longevity in your musical career. And I hear each country have a particular sound. What sound would you put in the Belizean mainstream that can get into a global stream? Give me your points about how the music cross over like that.
Alright, see that the next thing, because like alright, I feel like just like how if you look at Afrobeat really gets structured, you know, for engineered to be what it is, because Africa had a lot of different countries, lot of different cultures we speak, and lot of different have different cultures, you know. So my thing is, I just feel like we, with most of the influences then we have to use our the root of our culture, some aspect of our Punta soca, or I mean not soca, our Punta culture be the centerpiece, and we use other influences or whatever other music they were people most resonate with in our scene, you know what I mean? And I feel like that way we need to create one hybrid. That the only thing where I feel like could really make that challenge, we say, alright, we could put something to the world where be our own, because that's what we really need to do at the end of the day. That's the big major work we need to do, and we have all of the elements to really make it happen. Just like what I said, like the punta and the elements of that could be the backbone of everything, and with us all the other influences then we just put the as tap-ins, and we'll create our own hybrid music genre or feel or whatever where could be our own, because I feel like that's something more important as Belize in a music and entertainment. We need to create our identity.
With the ever evolving aspect of music, it is foreseeable for that to be accomplished. Now, your gracious career has been inspired by some artists or someone else. Who did you look up to as a young artist when you was coming into the scene?
There's a young artist coming up like locally. Like I used to look up to artists like Louis Ganzi, you know what I mean, Hooligan, Anaconda, Johnny Bling, Pioneer. There are a lot of artists to me when I mean like when I'm to come up in at the scene, then there are artists where I really had respect for because they mastered their craft, and I feel like I always used to say, boy, I want to be like that man. They have talent to that level there. So like then there are the true artists then where I used to look up to a local upon the local scene, you know what I mean? And internationally there are artists like I'd say like Ninja Man, Shaba, you know what I mean? And coming down to the later runs, I'm like artists like Sizzla, Anthony B, you know what I mean? That are the more that lane there that more my that the artists they were more me inspire me musically.
Have you had a chance to work with any of the legends in your career?
Yeah, definitely. I've been involved in the music over 20 years, and probably I've worked with almost all of the artists in that like all where I idolize in a certain sense. I've either worked with them or opened for them or get for the opportunity for meet them on personal, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. There's a lot of young, hot talent in the leads right now in artistry as performers and doing a lot of various forms of the entertainment industry. I wanted to know, would you be willing to offer yourself to be available to inspire and help bring these artists who are somewhat a little bit rough around the edges and refine them a little bit more to really enter this new world along with a legend?
Yeah, man, I very open to that because I like this. And my thing is, as an artist and me being in the music so long, I know what are my limitations as an artist, and I know that all right, there might have other younger talents who could surpass that, and if I could be able, if you could give them hints. And that next thing too, where I feel like there's one generational gap within the older and the younger artists. We need to get resolved. We need to cross that bridge there and really, because one wealth of information from both sides, because I look upon it still there's a lot of things where I could learn from a lot of the younger artists, and there's a lot of things where I could benefit from learn from the experience where we have. So like at the end of the day we need to bridge a gap there, because that one make it easier for the scene be more vibrant and creative, and have more energy, because now more people have more ideas and inspire each other, and you know what I mean, because I say that what things supposed to be like.
Indeed. In this artist field, it used to be male pretty much dominated this field, and now it has changed that the female artistry has bloomed. And kids today, as young as 15 years old, are capable and able to tell a story in their lyrics in the song. How do you feel that is changed the way that people listen to their music? And I say that in the aspect that each particular genre and style talks about they're going on in the current situation, their surroundings, their lifestyle, their political viewpoints in their city, and those messages of those type of music that are coming out from those aspects of people. It's not only being told by black males or young males, it's now being told by females, and the children are now suffering and able to tell a story about their suffering. And this seems to be a form of history.
Yeah, I say it like that. I feel like that just one level, because at the end of the day, that one reflection of the society and where they mentally because whatever music take root and people accept that where they comfortable with. So that like at the end of the day, that just to show how far society how much they're willing to accept now. And to be honest, I look on it and it's not so a bad thing, even though it's in terms of like, because we really have to open for we mind to the fact that at one point the stuff them what we may do me uncomfortable to the older generation same way too. So we even do some of the stuff there. Because why I say that because alright, even me at this point now, because I grown up now at this point, we have to because like one big point in case like the LGB the LGBT the numbers for the community and that right like we no longer can have no stigma against them people there and like we you just have to like move on and grow up and reach a new level with a different focus there because that can't fight against them people and not help nothing.
Wonderful, wonderful, great, Mr. Marcus. Wow. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your transition into the LA scene and this whole American move that you did that many want to follow those footsteps but don't know how. How did you do this?
All right. I like your first question because it gave me the opportunity to really bring and show people how I really get here because now and this come back to the same point as stubbornness because now until you really and truly how I get my first opportunity to travel right now I don't make my name on the scene and I used to connect with a DJ named Hard Rock bless RIP DJ where Pastor now right and he at the time asked me if I do a remix to Tanya Stevens song. It's not a pity. At the time because I'm a original artist, I tell her I don't really want to do that. And I'm against it for a long while and the man hound me till I eventually record the song for him.
Wow.
And the same song where I end up record for him as a dub plate, that is song where make I get the first bookings for a show outside of Belize.
Ooh.
And at that time there, I get booked for a show inside a Club Silk, right here pan Martin Luther King Boulevard. Club Silk. I end up get the opportunity for me perform in a Club Silk through that very song there. I sing that song there and the song there end up come on CD out here and my Virgin Bantan, DJ Bantan, Anthony Bantan. At the time, him a DJ at a Club Silk and they booked me and bring me from Belize for me come perform in a Club Silk. And from there, my first connection with LA start and the following year, I end up going back to Belize and then I come back again. And I end up get a link with, that first trip I end up get a link with Bert Mackay, who's a childhood friend of mine where we grew up together and you know what I mean, we're familiar with each other growing up and we connected out here the first time when I come and when I come back again because we don't establish that connection then we start to part together and we start to like go to the studio and start to like just do music
collaborate.
Yeah, and through that we end up from our group named Rebel Empire where we end up come as one of the Belizean groups then where really made hold the flag in at the scene after like the days of Caribbean exchange and the other artists then on the local LA scene, you know what I mean? We end up come out here and we end up made do one lot of the festivals then and the local shows then on the local scene. So we end up really make our name as Rebel Empire, me, Bert Mackay, Genius, you know what I mean, Aya, you know what I mean. We had a wholly crew. We were really established one force musically in the LA scene, and I say I just feel like that just due to a certain change in the musical structure help make we had to figure out how we want and added with the fact that I moved away too at that time there, you know what I mean? That kind of, I feel like that kind of derailed a lot of the momentum we build up during that time there. But I say we had one great experience on the LA scene, building up the LA scene around here on the Belizean musical tip, you know what I mean?
That sounds fantastic. In the clubs at the time, how did the clubs and your performance and your showmanship in that that tour that you said you had opportunity, what could you, as an artist, maximize in those things? So, what could you have did better to make sure that you were more maximizing all your revenue streams?
Yeah, this is one thing where all artists have to realize too, right? Once you do music, right, there's one opportunity and one possibility that your song might hit, and you have to always prepare to capitalize off of the momentum when you get a song will hit. Because as an artist, some artists might get it one time, some artists might get it two times, and some artists might could keep on recreating it. But as a matter of fact, you just have to know fi maximize the opportunities, especially when you get a song where make certain waves. I say merchandising now a big part one artist revenue, and you as an artist have to really look in your how you can monetize and set up merchandising opportunities for you and your personal brand, because that will be one of the ways then how going forward you could establish yourself and really establish yourself business wise and be able to could earn.
Mm. Yeah, that's one of the big steps along in this artistry business that one has to take seriously is maximizing all the opportunities around you.
Most definitely.
Do you have the LA producers, excuse me, not producers, but the promoters here, and the one that doing the bookings for several of the venues? Do you feel that artists need to have a relationship with that type of the agency to be successful along with what they do in the social media scene?
Yeah, this is one thing where I really want to say. I feel like any Belizean promoters were involved in an entertainment should have one duty to try use their platform to encourage and foster and build Belizean talent. And I feel like that way most of the promoters they are doing a poor job of, you know what I mean? Because like I say sometimes some of the shows they we're going through the like, alright, you know there's a lot of artists around here and a lot of promoters then we know we do music out here and we got songs out and we, you know what I mean, with the opportunity would give we the leverage we need to really move forward. And I feel like that down big blockage sometimes, and I feel like one relationship really have a day and one compromise have a day, because as promoters in the Belizean scene, that the Belizean community, you're the get that energy from. So you have to have a duty to try put on some Belizeans in a positions to be able to could move the craft forward. And if you got the platforms and the ability, you have to make it available.
Yeah, I mean, I know that collaboration between the promotion and promoters and along with the artists is so crucial as your early site of getting out into the community. Now, you've laid out a level of a path to America. Being in America, did your talent seems to gravitate to more American scene? Did your music somewhat change? Did your style did more accommodating to the LA scene with your original style? How did that play out? Did you have to adapt?
No, not really, because like, alright, like in the past, I've collaborated with a lot of hip hop artists over there. Like, I've collaborated with I've most recently I collaborated one song with Sticky Fingers for Onyx. I've collaborated in the past with Badass for Rest in Peace. And I mean I collaborated with a few other local groups. I've collaborated with a group NBZ Nasty Boys from out of Long Beach. You know what I mean? And I've collaborated with Chuck Niddy out of Watts and the Snowman Click from the early era. So like I've collaborated a lot of rap artists when we first come, but the thing is we just had to be true to we said we never had to do nothing different. We just did what we did because that made the element where they music from we them one got a lead dance all flavor and anything. So
They wanted it raw.
So
You brought something to the table and kept it like that.
And the transition of that made me easy, you know what I mean? Because we never had to do nothing extra if you try fit in or if you try everything what we do that with them want that just a natural vibe. So it worked out good because most of the collaborations and what we did do really help we in a song way if we move our thing move forward.
In talking about collaborating with these other artists, it allowed you to also step your game up because they command a lot more discipline. Like, some artists back home don't take their artistry serious, and studio time means studio time. Won't you talk to me about the discipline when it comes to recording versus henceforth where you came from to what you are experiencing when you're here right now?
Well, for me, I always had one work ethic about me when it come down to recording because at the beginning of my career, I created this movement. I believe in Heights of Vibes, and we created a studio culture, and I had a product of that studio culture where I always want studio rat. So, like anybody where been around me in my circles know I am a man in a studio 24/7. So like it's very important for young artists to have a certain work ethic because at the end of the day that will really make you have that longevity once you're willing to put in the work because sometimes some of the stuff then we do on many times they end up benefit you down the line and say boy if you do it if you never do it so like you just have to try stay active and keep your musical abilities then you know what I mean exercised.
Exactly, indeed. Everybody has a story, and here, What's Your Story knows the importance of these talented artists are always shaped in such dynamic ways, but it all falls on family. How important is family to the artist who's trying to create and move forward into this vision of him being is this superstar, but the people behind you have a very influential time? How important has family shaped your career?
Yeah, like personally, my family has motivated me in a every aspect, and I say in a lot of different cases, it might be different people might have different motivations in terms of because people don't have the traditional family unit, but that like family is just where I love them, where I support them. And it's very important for an artist always have the support base because the music industry and forgiving business and scene and then a lot of times the way I get beat down and where I get overlooked and where I get disrespected and you have to have your secure spot and the people then we could go to and we could give you that comfort and that the times there you know what I mean you have a good support base because it get tough in the music industry.
Wow, and I can feel that in many ways. If those out there want to get a hold of you, how can they get a hold of you? Can you give us your social media platform and let us know?
Yeah man, you could link me on Instagram slash the rebellious boss, on YouTube Dan Marcos Vivo. Catch me on Facebook, the Royal Rebel. You know what I mean? And Twitter, the Royal One. So yeah, man. I'm pretty active on social media. I mean, not as active as I want to these days, but I'm pretty active for the most part on social media. So yeah, man.
Well, that's good that we can definitely know how to get a hold of you. And one last question today. What advice would you give to the Belizean artists platform right now that is thriving and thirsty for this new knowledge and this new revenue stream these days? What would you say to them?
To who?
The artistry. What advice would you give to the up and coming Belizean artists? Maybe they're already established artists, But you, as an established artist and a legendary individual, what advice would you give to the Belizean artistry overall to be able to help them and navigate them in this genre?
For Belizean artists, like I just feel like right now a lot of Belizean artists are doing a good job and they make good music and they do the right things, and so now that's a matter enough for them if start making themselves more knowledgeable about the business and music, and just start be more consistent and more focused on music as a business, because that we really need to focus on and know as a just as one group, the entertainment scene, the Belizean entertainment scene, we just need to focus more on taking music as a business and seeing ways how we could capitalize. And I said most artists just have to, if you're not prepared, be prepared, and if you're prepared, stay prepared, because you never know when the opportunity might come. So that is my greatest advice to Belizean artists right now, you know.
Tell me a little bit about the effects of the music business and how it goes down.
No, I just said like you said the way how like the unity where party promoters have, you know, promoting parties and events. I feel like I say we as Belizean artists have to realize one thing, that nobody not there for we, nobody not do nothing for we. So we have to really, because if you're looking at the big scenes there, the big music scenes, lot of big artists. If even Michael Jackson, the greatest artist, reach the point where they tell Michael Jackson you're broke and you have to go back on the road. Like how could the greatest artist reach a point there? You know what I mean? Where make billions of dollars off of music and off of the image and different sort of thing. So my point in saying that is that like we have to, as artists, have to form some kind of cohesion or some kind of, even if that's something formal like one artist union or something where one, alright, we want to start do like, alright, nobody know to create shows, so we need to create our own shows then. We have different mediums so we could put them out and magnify them. We need, you know what I'm saying? Nobody now conquer. We don't see that the party promoters then separate, they not really focus on the artistry and building Belizean artists. So we can, me being here over the time, realize that alright, we can't depend on them, and kudos to the ones then we do try and give. Big then I got a lot of them we really give Belizean artists and blah, because I said sometimes you gotta watch Belizean promoters, they bring in Jamaican artists and different artists, and then they depend on Belizean artists, and they have Belizean artists who do dancehall music or soca music, or sometimes soca artists and bring in, and they would not put their artists not even for open partner shows there where be good exposure, and like not even that like, I mean that within itself we for the past that, but like even that not even the day, like I feel like then there are some of the things then we need to connect and get in a place so that we keep building the thing. Because if you watch, alright, when I got to New York, I realized one thing with the Jamaican community, how entwined they within themselves and how they self-sufficient and self-support themselves. They don't have to go nowhere and look for no other. And my thing is, everybody else in a LA or everywhere else in the Caribbean look to Belize for sell whatever to we, and we can't sell nothing to nobody. We don't have no products so we develop what we could sell and put out, and we have perfectly good artists what we could, but that just the interest and the not get put, like people not see the value, you know. Because if you reach a point where somebody would have said, because there's enough artists who have the potential right now, but just because they need certain things and people not see the value enough in terms of putting their things in a place for the artists there to make the next step. Because and it just like I said, they not see the possibility that I said, because of the hopelessness and the hopeless mentality, they not see the possibility that music could open a door. Because if they see the power with Jamaican artists and different artists could come from around the world and influence them and have that certain energy over there, you don't think that eventually, and same thing I feel like with Belizean DJs, I feel like Belizean DJs no they do nothing if they not they introduce new Belizean artists. Because you as a Belizean DJ, they go and play and bugger like that way. But if you want to make some real moves and make some real waves, the only thing where you could really do for impress anybody and bring something new to the table, and the only thing new you could bring to the table is a Belizean artist. And I feel like, and even if that don't want focus for them, I feel like if it be something where them for put Lee interest pan and know that alright, if I develop some Belizean artists, eventually we will have that. They don't feel shame as Belizean art. I mean DJs and can't say, oh no Belizean artists, no, they no got no big song or they no big scene like that, and they make no waves pan it. And that not matter of fact that Belizean artists they don't got the talent. Because a lot of talent and a lot of songs over the past 10 years I feel like could have maybe successful at least in the Caribbean market. But just as I said,
easy.
We don't got a blueprint to really go set up the marketing, and that the biggest aspect of Belizean artistry where I feel lacking right now, marketing. Because at the end of the day, if you start and for Belizean people start look on here, you have to get that outside look, and that will marketing will make that outside look where make other Belizeans start make it credible and make other artists credible. And it's a shame that have to be what it is, that the outside influence have to come persuade Belizeans for, you know what I mean? Because in other cultures down the way it is, like I say with Jamaicans like what I said when I got to New York now I realize now, and I start partying some Jamaican and I get the opportunity to get a couple shows, but now the minute I mention either Belizean, that like one certain, because now for them thing they cater for them thing, they no business about you and you. So I realized that position where we there now nobody know to cater for we. So we just really have to figure it out and develop our own platforms and our own unity within ourselves to really make the opportunities there necessary. Because I feel like together we have enough resources we at least could create the spark for the scene where we need to take the thing to the next level.
We need that. We need it because that's you have to understand the whole aspect of it to make your craft worth it.
That one song, it take from one artist, and we got a lot of artists who are credible and making more than just one song. But I just say it just takes one song to go international, if make one certain type of impact to open the floodgates for Belizean artists, because a lot of Belizean artists do have the potential and ready and they're in a position to could make it happen, but we just need the spotlight to get there. And we just have to work hard and like I said, on the local and the social scenes, we have to really put more work in and be more present and forceful out there in the scene, because I feel like for we culture in the Caribbean scene now missing. I say that especially on the East Coast, whereby a lot of people know about Belize but don't know about Belize culture.
Wow.
Like I put on my last album, right? I want to use Rhythm Stream for do my marketing and promotion, but the problem with that is that now, because I don't have one fan base in a bigger scene, when they put out my thing and my thing they out there, that just like I'm dropping a bucket of water, can nobody know me, and I'm not gonna sustain campaign where really do. So then there are things where I learn over the years in terms of marketing and promotion, but bigger levels, that like alright, yeah, you have to come, you have to put together a fan base and you have to really like have one presence, and that one thing where as an artist, where that one of the things where will make you move forward. You have to be able to mobilize the people that will support you. You know what I mean?
That's why the stage performance and working with a booking agency credible to get on stage to be featured is so important.
But no, this are the age right now whereby like, because now we see where record labels and they get redundant right now, that just the people in connection with the, because alright, you watch from people and got people on social media where just get jokes, where develop an audience enough we could do a show just for doing jokes. So artists you know must, and alright, why I say because enough artists still got songs where they bust through social media right now. That because certain artists figure out the formula how to use social media to get their music in the scene and make it relevant. And I said that the part of the business where like a lot of artists have to look into and realize that the formula to do certain things. You know what I mean? And it keep on changing, because like I said, it's so, because for me, even me, I just learn these things and realize that alright, you have to use social media as because they're the biggest way how to move music right now in the social scene right now. I know social media that everything, everybody depend on every social media and that way how information and content get put out. So like once you're the artist right now, you have to invest in putting content and enough stuff out there for you know what I mean. Got out with the game boy right now.
So there's not a lot of resources in Belize to further a Belizean artist. Furthermore, as opposed to being on the internet, has this new calling for international, this global appeal. It's about getting beyond Belize walls. I think that we say what an artist should do and we give the information, but there's no place in Belize for them to get counseling, direction. Where should they seek for those avenues?
No, but say that why. All right, come back to the point whereby that why the young artists they don't look up to nobody when they should have had examples before they already, and that why it makes sense for you to have OG and elders in the game were able if you could show younger artists certain things and the ropes of the game, because that one the next thing we want missing link. That why that lack there, because there's no bridge between the younger artists sharing the older artists sharing the experiences with the younger artists, which could make it much easier then for maneuver in this new environment when they're in.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, and I think more of that is needed. So more listening on both sides, because the young artists have something to say, and the older artists have things and knowledge that they have gained already, and to combine those two, it's success.
Yeah, and that way I feel like could make a big impact on the Belizean scene, and because this is the next thing I barely see artists collaborate the Belize, and that's something where very important. You know what I mean? Collaborations very important because it able to spread out to certain people when no might able to see you, whether fans are a certain person might see you and become new fans, or like it spread out both artist fan base, so that like collaboration makes sense. So young artists I try to collaborate as much as possible, because that the key for even people outside of the country try collaborate with different people and different in different places, and that how you broaden your horizons as a young artist. I mean, not afraid to collaborate.
Yeah, indeed. More collaboration is definitely needed. It brightens and brightens up the world a lot more. You get to feature a little bit more.